Welcome to the Excuse Smashers podcast.
Hey, this is Tim Kaufman. Thank you so much for joining me as I talk to some of the most amazing people on the planet about excuses and why they didn't let excuses hold them back from a plant-based lifestyle. So sit down, buckle up, and hang on as my guests show you how to
Smash excuses.
So what a pleasure it is to talk to Annette Fowler tonight. I'm so excited to finally actually kind of meet you. I've been following you on Facebook, and thank you so much for joining us, Annette.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So as we get started here, if you would be so kind to take a few minutes and just tell us how a plant-based lifestyle has actually changed your life.
Wow. Being well over 300 pounds and being in massive pain all the time. Funny enough, I never really attached that to food. And so once I did, and I started, it's just so completely different now in my life. Like I've got a good portion of my independence back. I lost an awful lot of independence, not being able to do a lot. And I closed myself in. I started to talk to people less, visit less, and became a hermit. So now being plant-based, I feel so much better. I have so much energy now. And having fibromyalgia, I kind of have to be careful with how I spend my energy because I can flare myself up, of course. But now that I'm capable of going out and walking more, I'm trying to learn how to socialize all over again. And it's a thrill for me. I honestly didn't think that I would ever get this chance to get back to a normal life, or what I consider a normal life.
Wow, that's awesome. So it sounds like you shed some weight doing this.
I did over 150 pounds so far.
Wow, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And can you think of any other way, like medically, that it's affected you?
Yeah, I'm on blood pressure medication, but now I'm on the very lowest dose. So I'm just waiting to get off of that. I had reflux. I'm not really bothered by that anymore. I am going to talk to my doctor about removing that medication because I don't think I need it anymore. My cholesterol, I just, again, got lowered down to the lowest dose for that. Getting my blood work checked in a couple of weeks to see how that's going. Let me see, sleep apnea, that was a big one too. Geez, I don't want to say I don't remember much of it anymore. It's only been 5 years, but a lot of it went away fairly quickly. I was also diagnosed with prediabetes.
Okay.
And so that kickstarted me into looking into what I can do because there was no way I wanted to. I have an aunt that I used to see, she used her insulin before eating, and I didn't want to get into that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's super, super cool. Okay, so you know why you're here. This is Excuse Smashers, and this is what we do. We smash excuses. And so I've been following you on Facebook, and like you are like one of the most inspiring people in my newsfeed, and I mean that like so sincerely. To watch, your progress, even over the last few months, it blows my mind. It's mind-boggling to me. And so I hear this excuse all the time, and this is kind of cool because this is the first time on this show that it's not like totally plant-based, although it has a lot to do with it. But all the time I get people, I tell people that they should get out and move. And I'm not talking about exercise like, going crazy, but I think that's a big part of this journey, that you get your blood moving and, you're active. And I think because of the way we eat, we get so much more energy. So by default, we become more active. But I hear this so many times from people that are in their 20s right up to whatever age. I can't walk. I can't walk for exercise. I can't hike. I can't run. Whatever it is, because I have bad knees. So my first question for you is, why do you think I'm asking you to smash this excuse?
Well, I think because I am working as hard as I can to smash it. I think I'm doing a pretty good job at smashing that excuse, actually.
Yeah, I think you are too. So what makes you what gives you the situation where you have to smash this excuse?
Uh, well, my knees, my left knee, I have confirmed arthritis in that one. My right knee, I had lost about maybe, I'd say 120 pounds, and then it started really giving me problems, giving out on me. And I thought, why? I should be getting better, but I wasn't thinking about the fact that I had more energy, so I was starting to move around a bit more. So that's a possibility of, why my knee was giving me that much, problem. But I thought if I want to work away from my walker, because I walk with a walker on a regular basis, like I can't go very far without one. And I'd like to, as much as it's helped me, I'd like to move away from it if I can. And so I started walking back and forth in the living room, working up, because I could only walk maybe 3 to 5 minutes before I had to sit down. And slowly, now I'm walking sometimes 40 minutes, sometimes an hour.
Wow.
And I can go over 3 kilometers in one stretch. It tickles me that I can do that now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh my goodness. I have goosebumps right now. I'm not going to lie. So would you mind taking the next couple minutes and just talking to us about some like specific examples where your knees, challenge you, in everyday physical life?
Okay, well, if I'm doing a lot of excess walking, back and forth to the store or what have you, if I'm helping my dad shop or whatever, and my knees, they swell up, and so I have to sit like long enough, 2-3 minutes now, because my recovery time is so much faster with being plant-based, and some days it's like I sit and I rub my knees because they're aching so badly. But it's funny, if I sit for too long, that also makes them ache. I have to get up and I have to move them, We were made for movement, not for being still. My doctor had said that. I told her that I didn't understand. I used to, my legs the front of my thighs were numb. Like when you would go to the dentist and have work done and he would numb you, you could feel your face, but you couldn't feel that you were, like you could feel you were touching your face, but you couldn't feel your face. And my thighs felt like that all the time. And the longer I stayed on my legs, they would start to get hot and tingly, and the numbness would get even more prominent. And then it would start to burn. And if I was still stubborn enough to stay on my feet, I would get like electric shocks. It was kind of like the jolt of bolt lightning, in the sky. I felt that in my thighs. And so then I would have to sit and just kind of let that burn out before I could move forward. And
so you have all this pain. Do they know what the pain is from?
well, what they're telling me it's from is from my spina bifida, because of the arthritis that's around that. That's where it's coming from. However, I was listening to an interview by Mylan Ross, and he was talking about how his stomach had gotten so large that his doctor had told him that it was damaging the nerves into his legs, and that as he lost weight, he started noticing that the numbness that he was having was no longer there. I'm now starting to notice that it feels good and weird at the same time, because I'm so used to feeling the numbness there that now it's feeling normal, I guess I could say. And it just, I don't know. So I'm going to talk with her about it and see if maybe that's part of it.
Right. That's amazing.
As I get smaller, it seems to be getting better.
So obviously, and it's funny because I kind of experienced the same thing, that the way my joints were, if I sat, I was in pain, and if I moved, I was in pain. And actually, the pain was much more temporary when I was up moving, because like you say, once I went plant-based, I recovered so much quicker. And it almost gets to this point in your life where no matter what you're going to do, you're in pain and discomfort. But it's such a better discomfort when you're moving, because first of all, it's temporary, and second of
Yeah.
all, you're almost searching it out rather than it coming for you. It's kind of on your own terms, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
what is it that makes you, I'm just curious, what is it that makes you, take, I mean, you're still walking with a walker, and obviously when you first started, that must have been quite a chore, to walk in your walker. What made you decide to do that? Why did you do that?
Uh, well, I don't know. I want to say I'm going to be embarrassed to say vanity's sake, I guess. I just thought that if I moved, because I know I'm going to end up with loose skin,
Hmm.
and I'm starting to get a little bit of that now. And I thought if I don't move, um, I want to keep as much muscle mass as I can, maybe build on that if I can, uh, and keep my bones nice and strong. I know all of that. Walking will do that. I can't do much of anything else, but I can walk. Even with the walker, if it's just, 2 seconds, it's 2 minutes. I mean, um, it's movement. So I thought I wanted to maybe tone my legs. I thought maybe walking would help me do that.
And now has that idea, has that changed now that you're a little bit further in the journey? Has do you walk for a different reason than you used to?
Uh, yeah, I love the way it makes me feel. I like the independence again, like I said before, knowing that I can go over 3 kilometers and come back, and then all I have to do is sit for about 5 minutes, and then I'm good to go for another. I don't go for another walk, but I'm good to do whatever I need to do around the apartment. And yeah, it's not so much for looks now as it is the way it makes me feel.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And you
Yeah.
kind of you kind of touched a little bit on this, but I was just wondering if you could give us some of the tools that you use to kind of overcome this. I mean, it's to me, this is bigger than just an everyday excuse, because this is a legitimate challenge. And I am just like, I'm in awe of what you're doing. I really am. And so what, like, you can talk about mentally the tools that you use, or physically, or whatever. Obviously your walker is a big tool. You didn't let that stop you. Can you think of anything else?
Well, when I knew that I wanted to start like actually walking outside of the apartment, I thought, okay, my knee is giving me a problem for a reason. Maybe my muscles are weak, obviously, clearly, I haven't been moving them. So I started doing what I call leg lifts, just, to take your foot off the floor, just enough so it's off the floor, and count a slow count of 10, put it back down, and then bring it back up, and, do 5 or 10 reps of that. And it kind of, you can feel it, surprisingly enough, you can feel it not only like you can feel it in your thighs, but you can feel it around your knees. So, that makes it considerably stronger. But I find that getting your mind in a different place, like sometimes I'll think about what I have to do for the day as I'm walking, because I've noticed that if I just walk and don't think about my knee, don't let my knee take any space in my head, I seem to be okay. The pain doesn't bother me as much. It seems to work fine, it's going smoothly. So I'll either have an MP3 player on and let music take me down memory lane, whatever, take my mind off of things, or go into fantasy mode of what I would prefer my life to be or what it's going to become, that kind of thing. And my app that is on my phone that I discovered, well, I didn't discover by accident, but I discovered how it worked by accident. I wanted to count my steps. And so I bought a pedometer, but it was crappy. Sometimes I'd walk 6 steps and it told me I took nothing. And other times I'd walk 12 and it told me I took 20. So I thought, okay, that's no good. And I thought I set up the app on my phone because it came with the phone, and I thought I'll use that. My phone is always on me. I for some reason thought it would still work. If it couldn't tell me the steps, it could tell me how far I went because of the GPS. And I set it up, but because it was in my walker, like in the buggy part of my walker, it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So one day it was cool outside and I had my jacket on. I had my phone in my pocket and I went for my walk. I came back, I sat down, my phone started buzzing and I thought, what's wrong with that? So I picked it up and I looked and it said, oh, just recorded 48 minutes of walking and you went 2.7 kilometers. I thought, oh, you're kidding me. I mean, it told me I went average of 4.3 kilometers an hour. And I thought, whoa, that's pretty quick, you know? And so now, of course, I want the phone with me all the time. That is an excellent motivator right there.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a great tool for anyone.
Yeah.
You know, and at first I kind of wanted to be this, you know, wholesome outdoors but you're right. It really does when you look at your progress. And actually, I just talked about this with someone last night that it seems like for me, my whole life is like mini failures. And I got that in my head that I could never do anything. I'm never going to lose weight. I'm never going to do this. And it's those little tiny things that start giving you the glimmers like, hey, I accomplished something. And then you want to go back and get more of that. And so that's a super cool tool that you use. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about any books? You got any favorite books?
Well, right now, not any books on. Well, actually, yes, I do have one book that I'm reading now. Mutual friend of ours had sent it to me. It's a TTAP, because I was talking about I don't know what I'm going to do for the winter, because I mean I'm not wishing for it to come sooner. I'm just saying I'm thinking ahead of I can't walk it with the walker in the snow.
Right.
And so up and down the hallway is going to be a little boring. If I have to, then that's what I have to do, you know, as long as I keep movement. But I thought it's time for me to maybe switch it up a little bit and grab some dumbbells, maybe work my muscles over the winter, you know. And so she was telling me about this T-TAP. And so I've been reading that and it looks interesting. So I'll take it to my doctor and see what she thinks. If she thinks it's good enough for me, then I'll be working on that. I'll be having some nice guns by the spring, maybe.
That's awesome. And I know this is kind of a silly thing that I'm gonna bring up, but I noticed one day I was scrolling through my feed and I saw you had a plastic bag. What was that tool for? Yeah, do you remember?
Oh, over the seat of my walker. Yeah. Yeah, because I was going back and forth to the hospital. My dad's girlfriend had injured herself, and I went out for a walk, not thinking because mostly I use my walker for walking. I don't really sit on it. Mm-hmm. And so being at the hospital, that's my only place I have to sit. And the one day I went out and my husband was like, well, it's raining. And I said, well, it's just a mist. As long as it's not pouring, I don't care. I'm going out. I'm not going to melt. I'm going out. So I went out and then I come back and then I went, oh, crap. And he goes, what? And I said, I'm not going to sit on that. I'm going to have a wet butt. So I ended up devising this little, they're actually, funny enough, they are plastic covers that are supposed to be stretched over your bowls, like for vegetables and things like that. And each one will fit over top of each little section. So it's like, okay, it's kind of like a raincoat for the seat of my walker.
That's so funny. And do you know why I took notice of that? I was getting ready to go out for a run and I thought, oh man, it's raining. I'm not doing this. And here's Annette's walker with this cute little plastic bonnets and I'm like, I gotta go now. So you're so inspiring. And I know people are going to get a ton out of this. And if anything just pops in your head, any other tools that you use, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, for now, it's pretty much it. I mean, it just, I used to love running when I was younger, but I don't know. I'm not going to say that's not going to happen, but you know, you never know. I think of how comical I must look out there, especially on a good day when I'm hoofing it, you know, as fast as I can go. And people are commenting and they're saying, oh my goodness, like, look at, you're just flying. Some people that I don't even know, they'll stop me on the trail. Like, you're really going, aren't you? And some of them will say, they'll look at my walker and look at me and say, good for you. You're still out there trying. It's like, well,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's so cool. And Annette, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day to spend with us and me. And I so appreciate it. And this has been so cool talking to you. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. This is a thrilling experience for me.
Holy crap, that lady's amazing. Annette is such an inspiration. You know, she doesn't know this, but there's so many times where I'm out. Just yesterday, I was out for a long run, and I couldn't help but think about her pushing that walker around, seeing how fast she can go and how long she can go, and she's just such an inspiration. So I get this a lot. You know, my knees hurt, and I have arthritis and all that stuff, and you know, people that don't know my story give me that excuse, and I just kind of smirk. But you know, you look at someone like Annette, and you know, she's living proof that this can be done. And you know, it's not about running a marathon. It's just, you know, putting the effort in, putting the time in, putting the work in, and being persistent. And I got a funny feeling that it's not going to take too long before Annette's moving along without that walker. I just have this funny feeling. So Annette, you are amazing. You're so inspiring, and I am beyond grateful that our paths crossed. So keep up the good work. And the next time someone tells you guys that they have bad knees, you can tell them that because of Annette, that excuse is
Smash.